It builds and builds until there's an eruption. The micro and the macro are the same. What happens globally, that energy theme happens in your everyday life. And today we have a very important message so that each and every one of us can understand, and overstand the changes that we're experiencing. We're experiencing global changes, and we're experiencing changes to our personal everyday life. And when we understand this energy and how it can't be stopped, there's only so much building that could take place. And, this energy has been coming in. We're going to see the correlation today and how all of these things connect. And we could look at this massive volcanic eruption in Iceland, and you could apply it to what you're going through in the now moment. And you could feel it boiling and bubbling inside of you. And what is happening inside of you is actually happening in the world. So when you see a physical, sometimes we have to understand it through a physical change that we could all kind of point at and we could use as a teaching tool. And that's what we're doing here in this very important message. So when we see that, we could understand what's happening inside of you, inside of me, inside of all of us at this time. And this ascension process, it ain't easy, kid, and it's becoming a totally different version of yourself. You're embracing the highest version of yourself, a version of yourself that is higher up the scale of consciousness, authenticity. And if you want that, you're starting to feel that. You're becoming more sensitive to the fake aspects of life, and they no longer resonate with you, and you're kind of calling out to God for massive change. We gave everyone to get on the live stream. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, could you kindly hit the like button? It will really help others find this message. And if today's message resonates with you, please subscribe to this channel. We have daily videos, 9 a.m. Eastern time. You could even set an alarm on your phone. Sometimes these notifications, they're a little tricky, light warriors, so I appreciate when you share this message as well. In Iceland, we just had the 4th major eruption in 3 years. And we're going to be talking about 3-year cycle in this video. You could look at and reflect on your life and you say, you know what? I think we went through a 3-year cycle. We've been in this energy for 3 years. The 4th major eruption in 3 years pumped out 10 times more lava per second than the previous 3 eruptions at their peaks. So, you might be experiencing eruptions in your everyday life over the past few years. And now with more velocity, with more energy, you're feeling this eruption boil and bubble, and you've reached a place where you say enough is enough. So what we're seeing in the world is actually happening personally for us as well. So you could look at the Iceland volcanic eruption, and we're seeing this happen globally. People are rising up. People have had enough of the life that they were living, and we're looking for a brand new life on a brand new earth. So your life personally, your everyday life, and the change that we're seeing in the world, the new earth, these are happening side by side. So what's happening, increased volcanism, you might be experiencing this as well. So recently on our journey, we had a very powerful X-class solar flare. So that was the most powerful solar flare that we've had in the past few years. So we could see the correlation. You have increased volcanism when you have these solar flares. So, you could see this connection. So we see the micro, this energy, as we discussed in the solar flare, these energies, they're in your body, and you feel them, the pressure is building. And just like within your body, the pressure is building around the world. And there's only so much that it could take, and eventually the lid has to be released. The energy needs to be released. And that's what we're experiencing at this time. So when you think about this, the pressure has been building and we're in a 3-year cycle. And this 3-year cycle is coming to an end. And at the very end, it's like a marathon. Do you feel like you're in a marathon right now? Let us know in the comments. Are you in a marathon? The hardest part of the marathon is the final mile. It's the hardest part. And you have to push and you have to push, and there's only so much. You know, that's why I shared with all of you, your responsibility is not to take on the entire world by yourself. You have to figure out, we're changing every aspect of life. And, you know, some people might expect you to take on everything. Well, you actually have a specific drive, a specific goal. Why are you here? You're here to tackle that specific aspect of all of the changes that are happening. And we see this globally around the world. So just like how we see volcanoes popping up, we have earthquakes happening, we have solar flares, we have Schumann resonance spikes. All of these energies, energy is the ability to cause change. And you know, this change that we're all, you know, yearning for has been held back. And this energy, it's building so much, eventually it's going to blow. We could get the volcanoes and flames going in the chat right now. Eventually it has to go. And this 3-year cycle that we've all been through, it's coming to an end. And, you know, I could really, I learned a lot in the past 3 years. And to go back to that time period and see what I've learned and not going back to that place. You've learned so much. You've grown so much in the past 3 years. But with that growth alongside of it, you can't tolerate it. Your tolerance levels are very low. And you're becoming sensitive. I know you're an empath. You're sensitive to these things. The roar of the lion. You're ready to roar. You're ready to erupt because you're up next. Write it in the comments. You're up next. When you play baseball, those that play baseball, if you're not familiar with it, there's 9 batters. And everyone gets a turn, and then you're up at bat. And when you're on deck right now, get ready. You might get a little nervous. Oh, I'm on deck. I'm up next. You're up next. You got to get ready. You got to start warming up. Start stretching. Start swinging the bat. Get ready because you're about to hit a home run. It's home run time. It's like Aaron Judge. You're like Aaron Judge about to hit a home run. So as we are witnessing the increased volcanism, you might be experiencing that in your everyday life. And this energy needs to go somewhere. You know, we were actually sharing this last night on Patreon, how people, you might be called to, you got to do something with the energy. Don't waste the energy. It can't sit there. And remember, emotions are building. What is emotion? It's energy in motion. This energy in motion has to go. So actually focus on utilizing this energy because your body is not, you can't sit still at this time. You can't sit still. If this is resonating with you, hit that like button. I appreciate it if you hit the like button. Others will find this message. That fire that's burning right now, that's the Holy Spirit fire. And the Holy Spirit fire is leading the way. And we experience these massive changes over the course of the past 3 years. And it builds and it builds and it builds. But each time, until the real change happens, it's going to be more intense. Is it really intense right now? Let us know. That's why we're here right now. We're here. During this intensity, it is intense. But the ashes right? The explosion, the ashes, the bombs that come off of the volcanic blast, they reach for miles and miles. You know, even last night, if you missed last night's Friday Night Live, you could go to the channel page. We're on different continents. It's about the reach, the explosion. How far can you utilize your energy and expand it outwards at this time? I know many people are feeling this burning sensation right now. And the pressure, you're in a pressure cooker right now. You're pressurized, kid. You're pressurized. I appreciate you being here, Brian. That's been the way right now, Brian. There's a lot of. Are you experiencing that? You're at the end, right? We know we're at the end, and it's like every last step. It's like you're in the sludge, and you're trying, and it's pressurizing you, and it's pressure until it goes, until there's an eruption. When you think about the correlations, you know, this volcano, for example, and we're using this as a teaching tool today. This is the 4th major eruption in 3 years. This is a 3-year cycle. And to think about this, look at the micro and the macrocosm. It pumped out 10 times more lava per second than the previous 3. That's the energy, the volume of energy that you're feeling at this time. And no one's going to ascend for you, which is something we talked about last week. If you're new to the channel, you could check that one out. No one is going to ascend for you. We have to make changes. We have to navigate the time period. It's about resiliency. I shared about that a long time ago. This time period, what you actually need is resiliency. And simply by showing up every day, you're showing that. You're showing that to God, and you might be crying out to God and saying, when is it going to end already? Speak it out, that it is over, that we are released, and that we are on the brand new timeline. Love Light 444. A lot of people, I felt that as well, Love Light 444. Yeah, please share your comments because it validates other people. You know, people could be on a totally different continent, which happens here on this channel, and we're having the same energy, and we're feeling this eruption that's building right now. We're all erupting, and it's rising higher and higher. As the frequency rises, we have to rise as well, and the densities can't carry on forever. We have to leave things in the past. We have to leave things leave things behind. And when we do that, we make room for so much more. And it is a difficult time period. It has been a difficult year. But the only thing that you could do is keep moving forward and let it out, release it. Just like you, Love Life 444, I had to release it last night as well. You're feeling it, and if you are feeling it, share it, because others are feeling this burst of energy course through them. Appreciate the support by hitting that like, those that just joined us. There are no such things as coincidences, only synchronicities. When you see that, and if you're new to the channel, we reported on that solar flare. And now we see the increased volcanism, which just happened. We could see that we're in a 3-year cycle. We know the micro and the macrocosm. We talk about ascension symptoms. And just like how this energy penetrates solid matter, it goes into the earth. And then it builds and builds and builds, and it has to be released. Well, guess what? That's happening within your body as well. You're feeling this right now. And emotions are energy in motion. So it needs to be addressed. You are valid, the feelings that you are experiencing at this time. And we're calling out for so much more. You have to hold the frequency for a period of time. Not a one-day thing. You have to hold it for a period of time. And when you see this, Actually, when you actually have tangible evidence of it, then it all starts to flow, because it's like it's momentum. I did a full video on momentum. It is a real thing. And that's why you always have to start with one. When you start with one, right, that first neutrino that went in there, right, to build up, you have to start with one. And then one becomes two, and two becomes four, and four becomes eight, and eight becomes 16, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, you've accumulated so much energy, and now you can cause a massive change. And this time period could beat you to your knees. And you're sitting there and you say, you know what? I'm not living a life on my knees. And that's how God gets you to change. Hit the like button if that's the truth. Hit the like button if that's the truth. Because you're not here to live a life on your knees. And that's why this has been building and building. So therefore, through free will, you will make the change. And each and every one of us are making the change that we want to see in the world. And so it is. If you find this message interesting and you would like to learn more about our reality in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, why don't you click subscribe, give the video a like so it becomes visible to more people, and please share with at least one other person. It all takes one. That's the power of one. It could be a hard time, but you could get through it. And you just have to focus on the one. One day, one change. One leads to a brand new timeline. And we can't repeat the same things over and over. They said, I believe Einstein said that's insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Do something different. Think outside the box. What we see in the world is happening in your everyday life. And we are the collective. And the collective's energy is rising up. And eventually it has to be released. So there's so much that you're trying to hold it so it doesn't explode, right? There's two energies at play. Some of you have seen this right now, right? You've seen this. There's two energies at play. And there's only so much that they could try to hold it back. Eventually the dam breaks and the energy starts flowing. Abundance is about to flow. You could hit the 888 because abundance is flowing as we go into the new year. Have the inexhaustible belief. Don't hold it in. Let it out. Let your creativity out to the world. There's a multiverse out there. And in one of those things, one of those places, one of those little bubbles in the multiverse, you're out there somewhere. With everything that you ever imagined. That place, that little multiverse bubble, it's not going to be held back any longer. The bubble pops and you rise up and you go to that new place on the brand new timeline. Are you feeling this energy building up? Do you feel the eruption energy happen right now? Why don't you let us know in the comments? I'm very grateful for all of your support. We have daily videos, 9 a.m. Eastern time. You could come back tomorrow. There'll be a brand new video up on Patreon. If it calls you, you'd like to join our Patreon community, the link is in the description. Show up every day, do the work. And the greatest support of all is sharing this video and sharing our channel. Let's get the word out there. There's many people that are going through these changes. They might feel alone right now. So when you share, you get the band back together. And that's what we're working on. We're getting the band back together for 2024, baby. Oh, yeah. The band's coming back together. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Hang in there, kid. Bye for now.